Welcome to Little Side Note with Maya and
When
so today we're gonna talk about something that is probably happening a lot in Campbell in general,
mm-hmm,
and people just shove it off as if it's like nothing, as if it's like normal.
mm-hmm.
So that is gaslighting. Yay!
Yay. Specifically, not people gaslighting you, but you gaslighting yourself.
Yeah.
Basically self-blame. I think Maya has experienced this a lot, like cuz
One of
like
my friends
yeah.
asked if I have imposter syndrome after hearing how I gaslight
Mm-hmm.
myself so much.
Because as we've known like from our previous episodes, right, that you've talked about you try to be the perfect daughter all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like you often gaslight yourself a lot, and that's not healthy. Like, not many people know that they're gaslighting themselves as well.
Mm-hmm. How would you define gaslighting?
It's like, it's more like I blame myself for whatever it is. For example, like, no matter if, let's say, a relationship or something like that, like, it's not your fault that somebody broke up with you or something like that, you know.
Mm.
And then you're blaming
Mm.
yourself, like, oh, maybe it's me, I did something wrong. Or like when you're, like back in high school, and then you are trying to ace it, but then you couldn't quite get that score that you wanted. You're like, oh, like, I'm the problem, I didn't study hard enough. Like you beat yourself over it, when in reality it's not your fault.
Mm. I guess it's like you're beating yourself over the stuff that you cannot control, and then you can't really let go because it's like in a world of possibilities, you're like, well, it could happen in the future, or like it could happen if I tried a little bit harder, or if I didn't do this, maybe like something like in the situation wouldn't happen.
Yeah. So
I really. Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing for people is to kind of identify that they're gaslighting themselves.
Yeah. But sometimes I question if it's gaslighting or self-reflection. Like,
I think
you need to take responsibility of your own actions sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
And
But
there's like such a thin line where you could cross it without noticing that you're actually gaslighting instead of self-reflecting.
I would say it's obvious when it's gaslighting, when it's something that, like you said, like you can't control it, but then you're beating yourself over it. Like, for instance, you might have like depression, stuff like that, and you're beating yourself over, like, why can't I get out of bed? Like, is something wrong with me? Am I not like fixable? You know?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
you gaslighting yourself. Like, no, that's not a healthy way to kind of think. But at the same time, I do think that our society doesn't really care about that.
Yeah, I don't think that our society cares much about it. It's more like, I don't know if this is just my conception of Campbells. Maybe I'm wrong. But I always generally feel like most Campbell people always try to talk in a way that they're right. Like, they would want themselves to be right. You really rarely ever see anyone being super duper humble. Humble. I don't know why I said humble. Yeah.
And I think in a way it's because we grew up in a household that was kind of like always saying that if we're not trying hard enough, then that's our fault, right? If like we're too lazy to do all these stuff, like if you try hard enough you would achieve it. So in a sense our brain is wired to think that if it's not if we can't achieve that thing that we wanted, then we are the problem.
I have okay, at this point, I've already accepted that as just part of my personality trait or like one of my characteristics that I am just lazy. I don't like doing a lot of stuff, and I like doing things the easy way or the shortcut way, because I would prefer laying in bed instead of going out to the gym or like doing something productive. And my family still thinks that, why are you so lazy? Why are you so lazy? I'm like, seriously, it's been like what, over 18 years now. Don't you think it's probably just part of me at this rate? Like,
So
I don't throw away stuff that's important. It's just stuff that I don't think is important. That's why I'm like, yeah, I could be lazy on that.
So I saw a TikTok that says there's no such thing as laziness. There's only something like you're not motivated enough to do that kind of thing. Well, to be fair, some things are really boring.
Yeah.
Like
I think it also comes back to priorities. Like, if you have it as a really high priority, then you would probably do it. Like, I remember, I prioritize taste of food. So I would drive like 2-3 hours sometimes for a restaurant, and then wait another 2 hours in line just to go eat there, which doesn't make sense. If I were really truly lazy about every single thing, I could have easily gotten like food next door to my house and then be like, okay, it's done, I'm full, I don't care anymore.
Well, yeah, like you're motivated to try new food, so in a sense it ties together.
Like, yeah.
So I wanted to ask, like, how do you usually like talk to yourself when you're like, you did something wrong? Not something wrong, but like if there was a situation that you were blaming yourself, like.
I don't think I have a very good way of letting go. So even if I personally know that what's best for me is to let go, stop thinking about it. There's no point in thinking about it because it's already happened. And the more you think about it, the more you're wasting time not doing the stuff you want to do. But of course, my mind is not my control. So these thoughts keep coming back to me, even though I know they're detrimental to my health, and it's not something that I need in the moment. It just flies in and you can't control it, and all I could do is let it continuously go over in my head. And I don't really talk to myself much. I feel like the most I've talked to myself was since quarantine. Like, always felt like, life was a little bit difficult in a sense, because I can't help comparing how easy other people have it compared to me. But I realized in some aspects I am luckier than them. I like good friends, good people that you don't really notice until like you get robbed. Like, you kind of get robbed of it when you're in the pandemic. I didn't get to see these people. I had the audacity to just pop into my friend's apartment without thinking a second thought, like, oh my god, she might not like it if I just pop in, but I could just like go in and I know that she doesn't give a shit. Yeah.
I don't really have, maybe I don't notice it, but I usually self-blame myself when I'm like overthinking it. Like, I keep telling myself, like, I'm so sick of living, like, my sleeping schedule is like fucked up. I don't know what to do with my assignment. I really want to go to the gym, but I don't have all that motivation. And then every night I'm like, I'm so sick of myself. Like, when can I get my life together and stuff like that? And it's like two people in my brain scolding each other.
For me, I don't really have that problem, because to me, my priority is hanging out with my friends. And because I overthink a lot, I will not have peace of mind hanging out with my friends when I have assignments undone. So you see like how the way the process is, like, my reward is peace when I'm done with my assignment. So that motivates me to finish my assignments early, plan it out, and then it means like, if my friends suddenly want to call me and grab boba at 11 p.m, I can easily say, okay, let's go, because I'm done with my stuff. And health-wise, I have my own rule because I don't know if it's a sensitive stomach, but it's like if I skip a meal, I get what is kjal in English, like
I don't know.
gas or something. It's not gas.
No
It's more
idea.
like you feel like you might vomit. You don't feel great. So my rule is I do not skip a meal. My internal clock is quite good when I was still in school. At exactly 11, I need to eat because my stomach rumbles, and I don't want to have a stomach rumbling like in class. That's the worst thing that I could imagine. So I will eat even if it's like something small, just so that I can push through. And that habit sort of gives somewhat of a healthy living in my sense, where I eat 3 meals a day. And my rule is if it's past 10 p.m., I don't give a shit anymore. Even if it's exams, even if it's assignment, I'm going to sleep. I don't care about it anymore.
You have much better discipline than I have. Like I feel like my whole sleeping schedule fucks it up for me. Like
No, but
maybe because now that I have to like kind of like cook for myself and living with my brother, then I'm like I don't want to cook, but then it ends up me be like starving, and I'm like it's okay, I can wait, not now, I can starve. And I know it's a bad habit, but yeah.
My trick around that, when I was living with my aunt and she was busy handling a lot of like stores, so she barely had time to cook or like have food on her table. So I would often go to H Mart and get those, Korean side dishes. They could actually be left for a good week sometimes, because you keep them in the fridge. So like my go-to would always be potato salad, marinated eggs, and like powdered miso soup. So if I'm ever lazy to cook, my food priority is solved within 2 minutes. Food is already in the fridge. I just need to take it out. I can cook rice. Like you will probably have rice on the stove sometimes. Yeah. So like just rice with egg, just to fill your stomach. Sometimes it's not about taste, just about your internal clock. Then that's one of the stuff that I would prefer if you're like struggling with food. But I do know that you have random cravings at random times, so I don't know if you would be fine with that.
It's somehow like I'm a pregnant woman, always craving this and that, and maybe I just I don't have discipline.
I mean, I think it gets better over time. Like right now you are 1 year younger than me too. Like over time, I guess. Then again, my parents are strict, so it's like it's different, and I didn't rebel much. I just kind of accepted this lifestyle, so like it embedded in me. Till this day, I still wake up like either before 6 or at 6. I don't wake up after 6.
I go to sleep at 6.
Yeah, but you have to also take into consideration where you have anxiety when you sleep. I don't.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. I've only recently experienced anxiety from sleep when the pandemic happened, and like sometimes in these past few months I did have trouble sleeping. I don't know if I should recommend this, but melatonin gummies really do work. Knock you out.
The doctor prescribed me melatonin pills, but like I took it made me drowsy, but not enough for me to completely shut down and go to sleep.
Bruh. No, that's the thing. You need to also try to fall asleep yourself. Like both ways. Like even if I take the gummies and then I don't try to fall asleep, then it won't work.
I tried doing that, but it ended up being like a nap, and then I woke up like 4-5 hours later.
My friend who has amnesia, I recommended it to him, and he was like, this is a horrible thing because the label actually says don't use this as a cure for amnesia.
Insomnia.
Insomnia. But he took it almost every night for a week because he was having so much trouble sleeping. And then I had to cut him off. I took the gummies from him and make
Oh,
sure
God.
that he didn't take it anymore, because it was
Yeah.
during a stressful time. He was also trying to graduate early with us, so he was taking more credits than he should have.
Life. Anyway,
Uni life balance is hard. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
I don't. Maybe it's just my way of doing things as well. Like I only work on my assignments at night. Like when I work on it in the morning, I hate it. So it ends up me working at night all the time till morning. That's when I sleep.
For me, I used to don't know how much the workload is. So I do stuff quite early because I have the anxiety of not finishing on time. You already know I'm like
Yeah.
strict
Yeah.
on time. You gotta be on time. I hate being late. I've never asked for an extension. It is something I take pride in. But with it does like comes with like really bad, like something that's like, I remember I had an argument with one of my close friends, and we didn't talk for over 2 months because she was like 2 hours late, and her personality, her characteristic is she is always late. I should have gotten used to it, but the difference was I made sure she promised me to get there on time. I made sure she requests I requested for her to make sure that you will get to that specific place at that specific time on that specific day, because it was one of the last few days before winter break, and I won't be seeing her all break, like a month and a half. So like really plan this meticulously, because it was a rare occasion where I got all 9 people together in the in the entire semester. So I was like, oh, come on, please make sure you guys get here, and everyone else did get there and followed through with their promise. But my friend was like, no. Yeah. So I got really pissed at one time, but it worked out, I guess.
I wanted to talk about imposter syndrome. I think at this age, like 20-ish, when you're in uni, I think everyone kind of feels that imposter syndrome. Even I do. Like, I feel like, I like watch YouTube and stuff, like software engineering people getting jobs at Google, Facebook, whatever, Amazon, and they graduate from the same degree that I'm gonna graduate with, but I feel like I couldn't, like the information doesn't retain in my head, and I actually don't know what I'm doing. And then like I watch interview videos of like them telling me to like do some coding exercises and stuff like that. I went to that website. It says easy, but I'm like, how the fuck do I solve this?
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's probably like math problems at some point. You just gotta get used to finding your own way of solving it. And it just takes a lot of practice, which is time consuming and differs per person too. So it's hard to find that sweet spot where you've done enough to be able to like snap, be able to solve this, that. Yeah. So
like sometimes I think I'm in the wrong degree. So but like at this point it's like too late to change my degree. But even if I wanted to change my degree, what would I change it to?
So I have 2 examples of that from my experience of meeting different people. So some of my friends who are like 4 or 5 years older than us, they're still in undergrad because like you right now, they realized that they were in the wrong degree, and they actually switched a lot of times. One of them went from doctor to computer science to marketing to finance, and he just finished last year, same time as me. And actually he was actually one of the top students in our high school. So he found out his passion was more on the business side. So like instead of going into the wild and not knowing for sure what you want to do, he took the risk and kept switching. The other one, also in like 4 or 5 years older than us. She started with interior design because she liked art, because here you can't really fully do art.
Yeah.
And then she switched to studio art, I think, now. And she's more content and happier with her degree right now. She does what she loves, and I keep seeing her posting about it on social media. I don't know what her career plan is, but at least she's learning and adapting to what she loves. Whereas one of our friend actually just texted me the other day saying she's also doing finance, but she realizes that it's something that she doesn't want to do. So yeah, she was questioning her degree, and she was like, okay, I'll just hold my tongue and finish it because it's too late to say no now. It's only like a semester away from finishing.
Yeah, it's the same with me. Like, I feel like it's too late to regret it now. Like, yeah, I'm gonna finish soon anyway, so if I wanted to start another degree, then I'll just do that after I finish this one degree.
So yeah.
What would you like give advice to the people who like always constantly blaming themselves?
I'm not sure, honestly. Yes, because I have tried reminding myself to not blame myself, and I know how hard it is to shut down that inner voice. I guess just accept that you're in that position right now, and your head just needs its own time to think it through. And you're not to blame for how you feel right now, because that's the way you feel. There's no logic to feelings. You can't explain it to stop feeling hurt. Your brain understands it, but your heart doesn't.
It's difficult when like whatever you're doing is not your fault, but then there's always that what if question, like what if I was actually the one who like hurt that person, or what if I tried harder, or and then it causes you blaming yourself for the thing that you shouldn't be blamed for.
Like sometimes I do have random thoughts of what if that friendship worked out, what if I was more there for specific people, what if I wasn't so worried about being the image of the perfect daughter. Maybe a lot of things would have been different, but I feel like everyone tends to overthink about it too. It's like, it's not just me. There's so many memes about it. Like, you're in the shower and you're thinking about what you should have said to this kid that was like bitching something to you like 5 years ago. Then you're like, oh, I should have said this.
It's I would say this is also a difficult thing to do with yourself, blaming yourself. Like, if you're like me and your life is pretty fucked up, try to get better, I guess. Like, try to make routines and like self-discipline, and then you'll probably feel better after that. Like, oh, my life is normal, like a little bit normal now, so maybe you would stop overthinking as much. But then again, it's a difficult thing to do because I still haven't figured it out yet. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's also a habit. Yeah. Like, I can't say that I'm happy that I'm not doing as much as I want to right now. I am in somewhat of a position to say that I'm living quite healthily compared to most people. But I cannot say that I'm at the peak right now. Like, I'm sure if I really had that much self-discipline, I would be easily able to exercise, balance my life, have my own self-discipline of learning new skills, which that one I'm really struggling with because I really hate online learning.
Yeah.
I really hate it. Like, an hour feels like 5. Really.
That's why I don't.
Mhm.
For the people who listen to us, please don't do this. But I never go on to like online lectures or online tutorials. I just wait for them to drop the assignment and then I Google search the assignment doing.
Oh, don't worry. Same. I had an AIMS class, which is what was it called? Information system class. And I remember like, oh, that professor nags so much. We can't go join the actual class, but he has a schedule where he explains the concept via slides, and then he will ask us to do the assignment, which is pretty much explained in the slides. So, and then he actually shows how to do it, and then he assigns the actual stuff that he actually did as our homework. So I would just check the last part, and I would not learn about the concept at all. I'm like, F this.
Well, you know Stack Overflow.
Other than that,
Yeah.
yeah, but but like mine was just mainly Excel stuff, so I didn't have to use Stack Overflow.
But Stack Overflow
Like,
is my tutor, my lecturer.
Dude, don't even start with me. This morning I was stressing for 2 hours, wondering why can't I properly open my Jupyter notebook? Why is NumPy not being imported? Why is there this error? And then I go to Stack Overflow. There was so many suggestions like, oh, doing the exclamation mark pip import, it'll help. And then it did help. But then when I had to import pandas, I cannot import pandas. And I'm like, oh my god, what did I do wrong? And then I had to go through the beginning of the course again to see how they properly open it. And then I realized, you know what it took me 2 hours to figure out? I was missing one slash. And I rewrote the code 5 times. I kept missing one slash. That could have changed my life entirely. I could have avoided that error. I even went to the extent where I went on to Apple and questioned if there was an update that I didn't know about, and my computer updated and then it wasn't loading the correct Python file anymore. Then I checked the version. Wait, it is version 3. I'm not using version 2. Why is this not working?
It's the same. Like,
Dude, I wanted to cry.
I had to restart my assignment 2 times. Like, I had to code the whole thing 2 times. Like, a whole fucking website. Like, I restarted 2 times. Like, with coding, it's easier to just, like, scratch that. I'll just redo it. You know, because it's so frustrating to, like, look at errors and be like, what am I missing here? You know what? I'll just type it again.
It's like, it's like finding Voldo. You don't know, but except for you don't even know what Voldo looks like.
Yeah, so majority of coding is just debugging code. That's all.
Yeah, it sucks. I officially hate Jupyter Notebook after today. Even though it was technically my fault, I'm like, bro, if you were really that smart, you could have just told me where I had the error and could have like helped me fix it. Not like me trying to go through all this code. Like, shouldn't computer have the ability to do all this already?
Yeah, but then computers are made by humans as well, so they're not as smart as you think they are.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if I'm smart enough to code something now.
It's okay.
Like, I'm
Like,
dumb. How am I gonna teach something to be smart?
Through Jupyter Notebook, Pandas, NumPy, and stuff like that, it didn't make sense to me either. Like, I hated that fucking course. I'm just like, I can't wait to finish the semester so I don't have to take it anymore. So when I saw you studying that, I'm like, good luck.
Dude, the sad thing is, although I'm doing this with my mentor once, I just found out today that they assigned somewhat of the exact same course, like they're covering the same topics, but instead of using Zero to Mastery, which is the course that I'm using, they're using DataCamp. So I literally have to go through each video and relearn everything and do the assignment all over again and restart my torture because it's required before I start my classes and before orientation. So I'm like, I thought I finished this terrible space. But apparently I had to restart it from scratch. Even though I kind of get the concepts, I can't say I'm a pro at it. But I'm like, I kind of understand it when I went through it. But now I have to go through it again with projects and assignments. I'm gonna cry.
The problem with me is more like I know what to do and I have an idea in my head of what I should do, but it never works out. It's just the computer thinks differently than you.
Yeah. It reminds me of accounting where I could not understand which one is credit and which one is debit sometimes, because it's like it's a matter of understanding how the money flows in each type of thing that you call it. So it's like, oh, this account, it is an asset, so that means it's what you have. So when you do it, when you categorize it under credit, it means it's taking out of your asset, so it should be minus. But if you don't have a strong core of it, you're gonna confuse saying that, well, yeah, debit and credit is like plus and minus. But if you're in like a liabilities account, because a liabilities means you are losing something, you should enter it in the debit side, meaning it is increasing the liability. So it flips. You get confused if you don't understand the main concepts correctly.
I feel like our podcast is turning into a mini lecture.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just like, today was the day that I started learning again after like a good week and a half of focusing on my side business, and I realized I don't know jack shit. Imposter syndrome hitting hard.
At this point, I'm like so done with studying. But I still have like another semester to go, so oh well.
Don't worry, bro. I have another 3 semesters to go.
I don't know why you chose to torture yourself, but yeah, okay. Good luck.
You know why. You know very well why.
Yep. So
for freedom, my friend, for freedom.
So we're gonna wrap up this episode before we turn into professors. So if you're listening to this podcast, follow us on Instagram, Little Side Note Podcast. YouTube and Facebook is Little Side Note The Podcast. And we also have a Spotify, which is Little Side Note The Podcast as well. And you can email us anything at littlesidenote@gmail.com. Yep. And for advices this episode is, I would say that I don't know, honestly, because telling people to stop overthinking is difficult, but go easy on yourself.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
It's a process. Yeah.
But you'll get there. I'm gonna plug our podcast in this episode. If you're having trouble with the issue that we talked about today, go listen to our 6th episode, which is self-love.
Oh, talking about self-love, we also want to shout out to one of the local Campbell entrepreneur in Aussie right now. The store on Instagram is called Troppable. So check it out. It's a lot of cute stuff promoting self-love and mental health
cute
awareness.
Like us. Yes. Yep. As always, stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.